Okay, next we're going to move on to something else. The next part is 3 metabolisms. We got Casey Malone, a discus thrower here. He was the NCAA champion at CSU and 6th place at the Athens Olympics. And he's huge. He's 6'7", so we're going bigger to smaller. Then in the middle here is this guy. He's ripped. His name is George Pincock. He ran 47:33 in the 400 for the University of Colorado. And then here's a University of Colorado runner from a few years back, Brett Schoolmeister. He had a 10K PR of 28:30. So that think of that. That's 14:15 for 5K, doing that twice. Okay? So that's really impressive running there. But what I want you to take from this first slide is it goes biggest to smallest, right? I mean, they're all really lean athletes, but we start with a big athlete, we go to a small athlete. How long does the discus last? Maybe 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. Okay? The 400, let's ask ourselves how long it lasts. Maybe 44 seconds for somebody who could win an Olympic medal to 60 seconds for a good high school girl. And the 10K, if you run 27:30, that's I believe that's well under the Olympic A standard. If you run 35 minutes as a college girl, let's say in Division III, that's a really good time. So the bottom line is the 3 metabolisms that we want to talk about: the creatine phosphate system for the discus, the anaerobic system for the 400, and the aerobic system for the 10,000. All are fueling events of different lengths. Okay? So creatine phosphate, anaerobic, aerobic. Does anybody want to guess how much the creatine phosphate system, does it play a big role or a small role in distance running? Raise your hand if you have a guess. Yes, in the red.
Small role.
Small role. Why?
Because the big guy uses it.
Because the big guy uses it, and we don't have creatine phosphate near the distance runner, right?
Guess not.
Guess not. Okay, you get a pair of socks. What's your name?
Kyle.
Kyle. Here you go. Oh, sorry. You gotta watch out for those socks. They're flying around. Okay. Here's another way to look at it. Take the creatine phosphate system, the anaerobic system, the aerobic system. Aerobic means with oxygen. Anaerobic means without oxygen. And what this says is 0 seconds, 20 seconds, 40, a minute, 80, 100 seconds. Basically, the anaerobic system, somewhere around a minute 15 to minute 20, it's kind of tapping out. But the aerobic system, I put these yellow slashes here, it could go all the way out for hours, okay? Now, maybe a better way to look at this is to use this graph. Here's various events. Here's the 800 meters, here's the mile, the 3,000 is what they run in college, even though most of you guys run the 3,200, all the way down to the marathon. Here's the percent that's fueled by the aerobic metabolism, and here's the percent fueled by the anaerobic metabolism. What's the what's the 5,000 meters? Just yell it out. What's the breakdown? 93 to 7. Okay, so it's mostly aerobic. Well, here's the deal. In most states, you're going to run 5,000 meters. Girls in Texas, do you guys run 5,000 now? No, you run 2 miles still, right?
Yes.
So for you guys, technically, it's more like this 3,000 meter thing. So it's a little less aerobic, but still, I mean, the majority, 88% aerobic, okay? The problem with this slide is that's the slide we used when I was in grad school, and that's been like 15 years ago. There's a new slide. There's been a subtle change where now they're saying that 5,000 is 95% aerobic and only 5% anaerobic. So they bumped it up so that there's an even bigger contribution from the aerobic system. 75 seconds is basically the crossover from where an activity goes from aerobic to anaerobic. Is there anybody in the world that can run the 800 and 75 seconds is a minute 15? Can anybody run the 800 in a minute 15? No. So it means the 800 is still aerobic more than it is anaerobic. And when I was in grad school, they taught it a completely different way. They taught it that the 800 was more anaerobic. So it's really interesting. And the bottom line is, if you're fans of Olympic track and field and like watching the 400 now, the new research says that to run a 400, it's a third aerobic, okay? You'll get something nicer than socks if you know this. Raise your hand if you know who Clyde Hart is. Do you really know who Clyde Hart is?
Is he the old Baylor head coach?
Oh, yes, he's the old Baylor head coach. You get
Your computer.
a hat. You want a hat?
That's not fair.
You want your computer, okay?
Do you want a hat or a blue shirt?
Sorry?
Do you want a hat or a blue dry fit shirt?
Oh, I'll try. I'll take a shirt.
Okay. Might be a little large.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, that guy's name is Craig. Craig's from Texas. Where do you live in Texas?
Houston.
You live in Houston.
Northwest. So it's Cypress.
Okay, so you live a ways away from Baylor, which is in Waco, Texas, but you knew the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, what event does Clyde Hart coach?
400.
Is he the best 400 meter or best 400 coach in the world?
Probably.
Probably. I would say yes. And Clyde Hart knew, years before this research came out, he knew that his 400 meter runners should go do a lot of running. So he had them at the beginning of the season do 16 by 200. Can anybody quickly do the math? What's 16 by 200? How far is that?
2 miles.
Yes. 2 miles. Awesome. What's your name? Kayla. Good math. There you go. Here's some socks. Okay. So here's something, this guy that came up with this new research basically said, it now seems evident that the aerobic system plays a significant role in determining performance during high-intensity exercise, with a maximal exercise effort of 75 seconds deriving approximately equal energy from the aerobic and anaerobic systems. But the key here is that he's talking about the aerobic system plays a significant role in performance. Right? If you want to be a good runner, you really need to train the aerobic system. So, because the race distance for most high schools is in America is 5,000, what percentage of energy comes from the aerobic system and the anaerobic system? Just go back to our thing, 95.5, and there we go. This is a really important slide for you to remember. 95% of the energy is going to come aerobically for you running the 5,000. So, I'll give you an example. Repeat 400s are a good workout because they're like an anaerobic workout and they help you get sharp, but they're not the type of workout you want to do 3 times a week all year long because they don't train the aerobic system as well as, let's say, a long run or a fartlek workout or maybe something like repeat thousands. Okay? Anybody here ever do thousands on the track? Okay. Raise your hands. Keep them up if you can answer this too. Raise your hand if you do 400s on the track. Everybody does 400s on the track, but I'm saying thousands on the track are a little bit smarter maybe this time of year than 400s on the track. Just because of this whole thing about the aerobic system providing more energy than the anaerobic system. Okay, are there any questions? Okay. Yes?
You know how the first system you said was the creatine phosphate or whatever it's
Yep.
called? Would taking a creatine supplement hurt an anaerobic exercise?
Would taking creatine phosphate hurt an anaerobic exercise?
I take a creatine supplement. Would that be bad for running?
Would that be bad for it? No, but it's probably not doing anything for you either. Okay, so taking a creatine supplement, what the idea is that you're going to store a little more creatine in your body, so that when you go do something like bench press really fast, or maybe do a box jump, like there's certain people in camp that are probably athletic enough to jump up to this table. I'm not one of them, but somebody who has a lot of fast twitch fiber can just jump up here. Yeah, and this is actually a great example. Something as ballistic as jumping up to a table like this, it's the creatine phosphate system that's fueling that. The flip side is, let's imagine we were running out the door and we ran like 30 meters and then we did like some sort of gymnastic like handspring thingy flip up here. It's not as much creatine phosphate because it's lasting longer than 3 to 4 seconds. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying like that's this intense anaerobic. The most intense anaerobic thing you guys have ever done is repeat 400s. Because remember, how many people can run a 400 under 75 seconds? Raise your hand if you can break 1:15 for a 400. So that's the crossover of aerobic to anaerobic. That means when you're running it, let's say you're a woman in here, you're running some repeat 400s at 70, that means that you're running them fueled more by the anaerobic system than the aerobic system. Okay? But it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad to be taking creatine. It's just it's not helping your running. The thing, and we'll get to this later, the thing that you can take to help your running is to get more sleep and to hydrate, which sound kind of boring. Yes?
A little off topic, but you were talking about doing the 1Ks around the track.
Yeah.
But is there like a certain distance when you're not going necessarily for like a split down to like maybe a few seconds when you should go off the track so you don't hurt yourself?
Yeah. You mean should you be doing repeats on, let's say, a grass field or something? Yeah. Oh, I totally think so. I mean, if what I like to do as a coach is sometimes take a wheel, and we're going to talk about a workout like this later. Take one of those measuring wheels, get out to a place where there's like a grass park, and roll out, 400 meters, 800 meters, maybe even a full mile, and run repeats out there. Yeah. And even if you're a little bit off, I mean, what's tough to do is, it just depends how much time your coach has, but maybe your coach has enough time then to mark out, let's say it's repeat thousands, to mark out every 200, so you can get a 200 split, a 400 split, 600 split. Yeah, but running on grass, I mean, how many of you are going to run on some sort of grass during your state cross-country meet or your important cross-country meet? Okay, so why wouldn't you practice on grass the next few days? Now in Boulder, they might use the term training on grass. Yes, you have to think about it for a second. I'm not advocating you train on grass, that type of grass. But yeah, you should be. Just be ready for like 3 bad jokes during camp. That was one of them. Yeah, but yeah, that's a great question. It doesn't quite deserve socks. I don't know why. Okay. But what's your name? So remember? Jordan. And you're from? Florida. Okay. Do you have grass you can train on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have alligators?
In the Everglades.
In the Everglades, but not at your house.
No.
Okay. Do you know who Ginny Behringer is?
No.
Ginny Behringer is like arguably the most famous runner from CU. There wasn't a book during her era, but she won this award called the Honda Award her last year at CU. She was an Olympian when she was still in college. She's from Florida, from near the Orlando area, and she tells a story about having to like jump over crocodiles on some crazy trail. Yeah. That sounds scary to me. Okay, here's the deal. Rest and recovery is as important as training, and the aerobic system fuels 5,000 meter races. Actually, we're going to stop here. Are there any more questions? I'm going to go back and we're going to stop here. Yeah?
Let's say you do a 400-meter workout.
Yeah.
Like repeats. Would lessening the break in between make it more aerobic or anaerobic?
Okay, you're doing 400 meter. Let's talk through this as a group. You're doing 400 meter repeats. You take more rest in between the 400s. Less rest. Does it make it more aerobic or more anaerobic? Anybody have a guess? Yes. What's your guess?
Anaerobic because you have less rest.
It's anaerobic because you have less rest time. That definitely deserves socks. So this is an interesting question. You can answer it in the opposite. What's your name?
Anna.
Anna. You can answer it in the opposite way and still get socks. Somebody answer it the opposite way. You're going to say it's because you get less oxygen. Okay, here's the deal. You said taking less rest, right?